Hi you guys, today's lesson is about arc length, Unit 6, Day 1. Our objective is that I will be able to determine the arc length of a given circle. Alright, so Unit 6, we're talking all about circles. Now, a couple of things that we need to know about circles is that you can name them based on their center point. So if we look at our circle right here, you can tell that the center point is this point P. So we can name a circle, circle P, by writing it just like this, or drawing a small circle with a dot in the middle and then writing P next to it. All circles have 360 degrees. Now when we talk about the diameter of a circle, you're looking at a line segment from one edge to the other passing through the center. That means if you look at points A right here and point B here, it is a line segment, a line that has two endpoints, and it goes through our center point P. That is the diameter. The radius is again a line segment, but it goes from the center of the circle to the edge of a circle. So the radius here would be, for example, P to point C. It goes from the center to the edge. The radius is half the diameter. Now specifically, we're going to be talking about a concept called arc length today. Now arc length is going to always be a portion or a fraction of the circumference. As a reminder, circumference measures the distance or the perimeter around a circle. For some reason, with circles, instead of calling it the perimeter, we call it the circumference. And that equation is always found using 2 pi r, one of our equations that we memorize for the ACT. Now, arc length is a fraction of the circumference with the same unit of measure as the circumference. So if we have a circle over here, right, and we know that this radius is 3, we can use our circumference equation to find what the circumference is. 2 times pi times r, which in this case is 3, and you end up with a circumference of 18.849. Now, if our circumference here is in centimeters, let's say our radius is also in centimeters, and we're finding out what is the arc length for this half of the circle, right there, the arc length would then be half of the circumference. So the arc of half of the circle would be 18.4849 divided by 2, which gives us 9.4. All right. And there's an equation that will help us with the arc length, so we'll go to that in a little bit. But here, 2 other things that are really important is the central angle and the arc measure. Now, the central angle is the angle that is formed from the center of a circle. So for example, this here is our central angle of 72 degrees. Then the arc measure is a degree measure that's equal to the central angle. What that means is this arc also has an arc measure of 72 degrees. All right, so this interior angle, the central angle right here is 72 degrees, which makes our arc measure out here 72 degrees. Now here, the initial intention was for us to do this in class as an investigation. That becomes a little bit harder online, but we're gonna go through a scenario anyways. So I'm gonna go through this step by step using a radius of 3 centimeters I want you to pick a different number. All right, I want you to pick a number that is greater than 3. So not 1, not 2, not 3. A number greater than 3, and go through these same steps just like I am. So I've decided that the radius of my circle is 3 centimeters. From here going out, that is 3 centimeters. Label the given circle with your chosen radius. What is the circumference of your circle? So remember, our circumference equation is 2 pi r. So I plug in my radius, and we end up with our 18. We'll round it to 18.8 for convenience. All right, and we know that the circumference is in centimeters. It says to divide our circle into 4 equal parts, which means I'm going to draw a diameter this way and my diameter this way. Each central angle is what measure? Well, I know that a circle has 360 degrees, and we divide it into 4 sections, so each central angle is going to be 90 degrees. We're now going to write a ratio that compares the measure of the central angle to the total number of degrees in a circle. That means my arc measure, which is the same as my central angle, is 90 degrees. The total degrees in a circle is 360. Using the ratio above, we're going to create a proportion that will help us to determine the arc length of a circle. And the idea is the larger your arc measure, the larger your arc length. So if our arc measure is 90 degrees, the total degrees in a circle is 360. We are looking for the arc length, which is our variable x, and then we know that our total circumference is 18.8. Now we have a proportion. In order to solve proportions, we cross multiply. So we have 360x equal 90 multiplied by 18.8. So we get 360x equals 1696.46. And then to solve, we divide by 360 to both sides. And we get x to equal 4.7 centimeters. So the length of our arc, it means this distance here is 4.7 centimeters. All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of time so you can catch up with your own radius doing these calculations. All right, so in these notes, I've actually embedded some practice questions for you. On a separate sheet of paper, I want you to go through and answer all 10 of these questions, all right? On your exit ticket form, the Google form, is going to ask for you to upload a copy of your work. So you can take a picture of the work that you've done and upload it onto your exit ticket so I know that you've done these practice problems. Please make sure that when you're doing it, that it is organized and easy to read. So on the top of your paper, I want you to write Unit 6, Day 1 Practice. And then I want you to label it number 1, show your work. And then I want you to circle your answer. All right, and I want to see this for all 10 problems, please. Now, the second teacher example I want to go over with you guys is in the context of a story problem. So, you and your friends order a 20-inch pizza. Now, when you talk about how large of a pizza you buy, when it says 20 inches, it always is talking about the diameter, unless the problem specifically says otherwise. If 5 people share this pizza equally, how much crust does each person get to eat? So here, there's some important pieces of information. The diameter is 20 inches, and you have 5 people. All right, first thing we have to do is determine the radius. We know that the relationship between radius and diameter is that the radius is half of the diameter. So here, the radius will be 10 inches. In order to determine the measure of the arc, we have to think about, well, there's 360 degrees in a circle, and there are 5 people. So it's going to divide our circle into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces like that. So we're doing 360 divided by 5. And when we do that, we get 72 degrees. All right, that means our arc measure is 72 degrees. Now we need the circumference, and we can do that using 2 pi r, which in this case is 10. And we get our circumference to equal 62.8 inches. And then lastly, we just need to set up our proportion. So it's going to be arc measure over total number of degrees in a circle, the arc length over the circumference. Right? And then we cross multiply 360x equals 4,523.9. And we're going to divide both sides by 360. And we end up with 12.57 inches of crust. All right, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 story problems that I want you to practice. Again, just continue on the worksheet where you have your Unit 6 Day 1 practice problems here. All right. When you finish all of these practice problems, then go ahead and open up your Google form that is attached on this same Google Classroom assignment and fill it out. It will ask you to put the answers to your exit tickets as well as an explanation for some of them. All right, if you guys have any questions about this, please reach out via email or on comments on Google Classroom. Thanks, you guys.